Well, hey, everybody. How are you today, this Saturday morning, August 31st? Nisha here with Nisha's Network and the executive director of HLMrecovery.com. HLM Recovery's 180 program with Heart Life Ministries. Many don't know that we are wearing many hats these days, and one of our largest hats that we're wearing is in the area of recovery through substance use, mental health, unemployment, and we service unhoused people. And so today, for Overdose Awareness Day, I wanted to come on here and let HLM Recovery 180 be represented. I am super excited just to really kind of talk to some people with lived experience today because guess what? That's a whole vibe right there. It's actually a blessing to talk to some people with lived experience, but not only lived experience, but journeys of recovery. People that are doing great things in regards to the areas of substance use, the areas of mental health, and it could go on and on. But today, for Overdose Awareness Month, Overdose Awareness Day, I wanted to take my time and have special guests on to be able to share their story so people can understand a little bit more about substance use, a little bit more about journeys through walking through life that where people may not have always had the best what do you say life experience, but their lived experience has caused them to overcome the areas and the struggles in regards to recovery. And I'll we'll get a little deeper. So today, my very special guest is none other than Mr. Mark Matthews, and we're going to go ahead and say good morning to Mark. Good
Good
morning,
morning,
Mark.
Nisha. Good morning.
How are you
Thanks for
today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. What a great way to start the day off.
Yes, so early in the morning, and I'm grateful to have you here as a special guest. I really just want us to take our time a little bit and just share your journey. But please introduce yourself to us and where you live and where you from, and a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my name is Mark Matthews. I do identify as a person in lived recovery. I was a 20 plus year meth heroin user. I'm a Southern California native. The idea of we do recover. I love that quote about turning illness to wellness. Um, you know, um, I think recovery has this amazing spiritual alchemy, this opportunity to turn all that liability, all that struggle, suffering, surviving, and then turn it into thriving, turn it into assets, turn it into an opportunity to, I like the joke that I spent 20 plus years being a hopeless dope dealer. And now, Nisha, I'm a dopeless hope dealer. Because I'm not here trying to sling hope. I lost my father to overdose 10 years ago, and so knowing I'm an addict,
Wow.
knowing that I come from that lived experience, I when I found a way out, I definitely did not want to be selfish and keep that to myself.
Wow. I wanna just go back just a little bit because you said turning illness into wellness. I love that. And I didn't know you lost your dad. I'm so sorry about
Mhm.
that as well. And you said to overdose as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why this is
Wow.
a pretty significant day for me every year.
Wow. So can you go back just a little bit when you the journey of when you were introduced to substance use?
Yeah, absolutely. As a child, I was exposed to it very early, growing up in areas like Compton, Crenshaw, Watts, Pomona, Azusa, California. These are places you probably wouldn't look up an Airbnb. On vacation, I think I just was exposed to that stuff at an early age. It was very normal. And so, really, that was always an option for me. And, I think growing up with mental health struggles, challenges, I was always looking for solutions in people, places, and things. And so when I found substances, I believe I genuinely latched onto substances, predominantly alcohol, in my early teens. And I'm not the kind of person that does things a little. I do them a lot. So I just kind of progressively kind of upgraded from substance to substance to substance.
Wow. So I want to pause right there because I want to talk to you a little bit about the fact that you said you had a mental health journey. And
Yeah.
one of the reasons I want to talk about that is because it hasn't been until just recently, I guess, after the pandemic, where our Ross program, or the state of Illinois, has really kind of uh, given more enforcement to mental illness, and because of the trauma that everybody went through. But
Yeah.
I just want to say um, it is tied to the leading of substance use, and a lot of people struggle with that. They think that you just wake up one morning and say, "Oh, I think I'll do," I think I'll just start doing drugs. But there has to be something that leads to that, and I want you to share a little bit about that, Mark, in terms
Yeah.
of a misconception that
Yeah.
people just want to be drug addicts, or they want to be addicted to substance use.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I'm really grateful you brought that up, because I think not only the general community, with the maybe being a bit naive to it, they haven't had exposure, or they haven't had their own lived experience, tend to just do the old, well, hey, why wouldn't you stop, or why did you start in the first place, or things like, you just want to party, and again, I know from my own experience that partying ended a long time ago, if it ever started at all. Really, what
Wow.
we are talking about are underlying mental health issues, whether it be depression, anxiety, schizophrenia. Again, I think insecurities, even, right? Whether we want to get to a classification of it being a diagnosis. Fact is, as human beings, I think we are all struggling in some way, shape, or form. Some of us have religion, some of us have a really good home environment, and it helps aid through those mental health issues. But like you said, they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
One feeds the other, and
Yeah.
I've definitely seen that. So if you haven't had substance use but you're struggling with mental health, you're predominantly set up to, again, probably come into contact with substance use and then substance abuse, and vice versa. Substance abuse and substance use leads to mental health issues. So they're really completely intertwined.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you for sharing that. And then also, you said partying and being introduced to drugs at an early age. Um, the way of the world now, and I'm just going to call it out. The way of the world is to smoke weed. The less,
Yeah.
and people say it's the lesser of two evils, of whether
Yeah.
you drink or smoke weed. But there's also the misconception with amongst a lot of young people, or even just people saying, "I'm just coping. It's just not a big deal. It's legal now. This, that, and the other." But I hear of people actually dying and
Yeah.
overdosing on smoking weed because it's laced with something else. Can you speak to that just a little bit, and thus the convenience of that, and how people it
Yeah.
become a thing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, I'm 46 years old, so I come from the threshold prior where, weed was not only stigmatized strongly, but it was also illegal. And then we've kind of come through this transition of, again, where uh, legally we've gotten more broad and roomy. And I won't speak to those opinions, but what I will say is that the idea of a substance being more accessible, whether
Mm,
it be alcohol, and we look at how the idea of, again, we're not outlawing alcohol. It's found on every street corner. I can't watch a Chicago Bears game without being inundated with alcohol ads. I think that, for me, the understanding is that there are a lot of people out there that can drink and use substances without there being a problem. And
okay.
but there and again, I think sometimes we tend to be worried about acknowledging that.
Mhm.
Those are the people I'm not worried about, right? I'm worried
Okay.
about the people like me, the people that, again, are trying to mask, cure, fix, um, even upgrade, elevate a situation, and those are the people I'm concerned with, because it's a chemistry set. It's this constant biochemical makeup that we're trying to, kind of, as an amateur, clinician, trying to self-diagnose, self-treat, and
Yeah.
find this, and it's a dangerous thing. That's why we see, higher levels in suicide. That's why we're seeing, especially, I mean, don't get me started on the fentanyl epidemic. I mean, I'm not a big fear monger, but this is an absolute game changer when we're looking at something that's 100 times stronger than opium.
Let's
And
talk about that for a minute,
yeah,
Mark. Let's talk about that fentanyl, like
yeah,
epidemic, pandemic,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Let's talk about it a little bit. What are your thoughts in regards to why people are not taking it so seriously?
I think it's a combination of hope saved my life. Hope can also kill people, and I just mean it because they hope it won't happen to them. They hope that they have more street smarts. That they hope that their dealer is being honest with them. They hope that this is just that was just a fluke, and really the reality of the situation is what we're dealing with because of the economic situation with this drug and the access to it is, dealing drugs is about money. It's not
Yeah.
about morals or values and so even quality of stuff. So the fact is, someone that is dealing in substances is going to cut it with fentanyl when it's 100 times cheaper. It's just it's fiscally more responsible for them. Unfortunately, um, we're having people die consistently because uh, the proximity of overdose is so much higher. Because again, they're unable to see where it's too much. It's
Yeah.
all really too much.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah. Yeah.
this is really a tough situation. I'm so grateful to be in substance use, um, training, practice, recovery right now because we need it more than ever.
Yes, yes, yes. And so I just want to tap in there to say that, there is the stigma that, oh, that this doesn't apply to me or my household. Now, or there are sheltered communities, and I'll speak to the fact that probably before I started doing this work, before I lost my nephew by way of suicide, yes, I had family members with lived experience through substance use and even mental health mental illness ran in my family and different things like that. So don't judge me, people, like, oh, that's what's wrong with you, Nisha. Anyway, the whole thing is that there's a stigma of it's not applicable to me,
Right.
and it can start anywhere. And I think people are so naive, especially in the faith-based community, I'm gonna say,
Mm.
because I'm finding that people didn't even know what Narcan was.
Right.
And that was the other thing. So now that we are a ROSC, a recovery oriented system of care, we are definitely spreading the message to provide people the resources that they need to be able to get the support that they need, or even become educated or an advocate to be able to
Right.
say, hey, this is a movement. This is a movement toward hope and healing, a pathway. This is entitled A Pathway to Healing, because turning your illness into wellness. You need to put t-shirts on that. Did you create that?
I wish I did. Actually, I have to give credit, I believe, to Malcolm X.
Oh, see, I need to know better. Anyway,
It's
but the
okay.
whole
Yeah,
we still should put it on a
I love
t-shirt
it.
still,
No, yeah,
because it's so phenomenal. But when you said hope dealer, I said that's what I call ourselves. When I introduce myself to different organizations, I say, you know what, we're just all hope dealers. We're just
that's
going
right.
around providing recovery support. But I wanted to say that in the communities where there is naivety, what would you tell those people where people have a stigma? Number one, it's
Yeah,
not applicable
yeah,
to me or my community. But then
yeah,
also, what do you tell the people that are just straight naive and don't have a clue?
yeah. You know, it, I don't. I remember growing up, the more you know commercials that would come on right during Saturday morning cartoons, and they would kind of bring up these topics where I'd say, I don't know what they're talking about. What I didn't realize was outreach, and like you talked about, it doesn't seem to be relevant until it happens to us.
Yeah,
And then there's always that feeling of, I wish I would have known. So
yeah,
I think that idea of, again, when I see someone struggling with drug addiction or mental health, what I challenge myself to do is see that is someone's sister. that is someone's mother, that is someone's daughter, that is someone's neighbor, that is someone's fellow coworker. So this is not a them problem, right? This is an us problem. And the idea of the sooner the better in being informed, in caring. I love when you mentioned Narcan. I drive my friends crazy because I will go into their trunk and I will check if they have Narcan. And if they don't, I will
Oh,
put
wow.
two in there and send them a text message and say, you could save someone's life with a nasal spray that's in your car. And there's also that stigma that comes in, or, where we've tried to get those dispensers, you, Jarrett, all these amazing organization Ross
Yeah.
groups have advocated and worked with communities, businesses to get these dispensers out there. And there's still this kickback of, oh, well, if I'm having that, what I'm doing is saying, I'm
Yeah.
encouraging people to use, and it couldn't be
Right.
further from the truth. Like, we
Right.
don't get car insurance encouraging people to get into car
That's
accidents.
so good, Mark.
Yeah.
That is so good. That is so the truth. That's the truth. We get car insurers to be insured, but that doesn't mean we go out just
Right.
start crashing everybody
That's right.
or doing what
That's
we need
right.
to do. So those
Yep.
Narcan dispensers, in the newspaper stands, I think they call them red boxes,
Yep.
that are everywhere. And if you're a community that's watching and you don't have access to Narcan, please reach out to us. Please reach out to hlmrecovery.com. Please reach out to Mark. Before we just really invite our next guest on, Mark, I wanted you to share a little bit about your podcast.
Yeah.
I love
Thanks, Anisha.
that, telling on ourselves. And to me, I am a faith-based woman, and there is a scripture in the Bible that tells us in Revelation that we overcome the devil through the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimonies. And if we did not have testimonies, how would people know they can overcome? So thank you, first of all, for sharing your story, and then the podcast, telling on
Yeah.
ourselves. Tell us
Absolutely.
about that.
And thank you, Nisha, and everything you're doing with Life Light Ministries. And I mean, this podcast. And I got to see your handsome Bo West on one of your episodes. And I
Thank
just,
you.
I love this. Not about us, without us. Let's get the word out. The ways we communicate will always change, but the message is still the same. And so, bringing up that podcast, yes, I am. I've had the honor and privilege of doing a podcast with two amazing women in recovery, Vicky and Lynn, and we are three spilling the tea about this little journey we call recovery. And so we, again, just kind of a very fluid format where we get together and talk about certain topics, like partially, our 12-step program, which is something we're all in, but also talking about different tools, different experiences, really kind of sharing, having conversations like you talked about, Nisha, where, again, it takes an amount of trust to be vulnerable, but from that vulnerability comes strength and power, and really, so it's this really great, genuinely a conversation, so that we can kind of talk about things like harm reduction, things like stuff that you might not hear in a 12-step room, because, again, that's singleness of purpose, but from meditation to prayer to what does recovery look like in early recovery and how messy that can be, relationships, all those kind of topic basis. Yeah, we're found on anywhere from Podbean, any streaming service like Apple, Spotify, and I would love if you'd check us out. That's Telling on Ourselves, the podcast. So thank you, Nisha.
Yes. Thank you, Mark. You all follow Mark Matthews. Are you on social media, Mark?
I am. You can find me. It's funny that the anonymity thing gets silly sometimes, but I will say, go on to Telling on Ourselves podcast, leave a comment in there. I'll also leave my work email, because, again, anyone anywhere that's reaching out maybe with some questions, has a family member, something like that, I always want to be available. And you can find that at markm@kennethyoung.org, and I will put that in the chat for you to also put there.
Thank you so much. Mark M. at Kenneth.org.
Mark M. at kennethyoung.org.
All right. Well, we're going to put that in the chat. Follow Mark Matthews. Follow his podcast. For those of you all who don't know what PLE stands for, it stands for people with lived experience. And it doesn't always mean that if you've had lived experience because you have walked through addiction, it means you may have a family member, just like Mark, and condolences again on the loss of his dad. Today, you guys, we have had our special guest, Mark Matthews. He is here as a PLE, a person with lived experience, but not only that, somebody who's making a difference in the community and the world that leads to recovery. And I just want to say thank you for all you do. Thank you for your story. Thank you for your journey, but also thank you for how you are helping others to overcome.
It's an
That means
honor,
so much.
privilege. Thank you, Nisha.
All right. Thank you so much, Mark, and have a wonderful day. And we will be
You
in
too.
touch with you soon. Take care. Well, you guys, that has been such an amazing conversation with Mark, because the truth is that if people don't share their story, how will you know? And so it's so important that if you've ever walked a mental health journey, if you've ever walked through any form of recovery, now Illinois has included gambling as a recovery piece here, but please, by all means, reach out to us. We want to hear your story. We want to hear your journey, and we want to provide support for you continually, but also help you to provide support for others. All right, so I have another guest here today. I'm excited about her because we got some big things going on in the state of Illinois, in the city of Chicago. So I'm going to bring on the beautiful Vanessa Marino. Hey, Vanessa. Can you hear me okay? We can't hear you.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hey, hey, hey. Happy Saturday morning. I'm waking people up at the crack of dawn these days.
I will
To
get up for you this early. How about that?
Well, thank you so much for joining me. Tell the viewers a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Vanessa Moreno, and I am the Assistant Program Director at Chicago Recovering Communities Coalition, CRCC. We were actually the very first RCO in the state of Illinois, Recovery Community Organization, and what that means is that we provide community education. We do various programs in the community that are supportive and promotive of recovery in the community. And we also do recovery support services, so direct services to people who are on their journey in recovery or seeking recovery from either mental health or substance use.
Wow, the very first
Yes.
CRCC, a recovery community organization, the very
Mhm.
first RCO in the city of Chicago. So, you know
State of
what?
Illinois. In
The
the
state
state
of
of Illinois.
Illinois. Come on, not just Chicago, but the state of Illinois. And
Mhm.
so I want to say thank you for the work that you do. I do want to talk a little bit about how you got into this work because I don't know your journey, and maybe you can give us a brief overview of, how you even started in the air working in the area of recovery.
Well, it started with my own personal journey in recovery. So, I am a person in long term recovery. And what that means for me is that I have been free of any substances for 8 years and some change now. And through that journey, I actually had a whole other career where I had a whole other career in marketing and advertising, digital advertising, and through my own recovery career or journey, I ended up meeting somebody who changed my life. And
Wow.
I had somebody who, when I was going through deciding what I was going to do next, after going through my journey of, detox treatment, I lived in a sober living. And I had somebody go, "Hey, have you ever thought about doing this work? I think you might be good at it." And so Dora Wright ended up starting me on my journey, and here I am today, 8 years later, and
Wow.
working for a phenomenal organization, and we're on the move.
So when you had your own journey, tell us a little bit, at what age did that start? And if you don't mind being vulnerable and just sharing with us, maybe what it started out with and what it, what substances, were provided in
Mhm.
your recovery.
Absolutely. So, I I grew up 5 minutes from the border of Mexico and Texas, a little town called Mercedes, Texas, down the Rio Grande Valley. And as you can imagine, living 5 minutes from the border of Texas in one of the areas where your largest entry points, it's kind of a different world. I can't explain it to people, but you kind of grow up in a bubble there, living against another country like that, and obviously a lot of drugs that come in through that area, as well as um, it's a different way of life, slower way of life. So I did start drinking at an early age, and that continued through my life. And it came down to the point where, I tell the way that I describe it to people is I had this. I had the picture. People talk about in their life that they have the picture. I had the big, pretty picture, that people look for, with even the gold frame around it and everything. Once I got older into my 30s and I had a career already and things like that. But, the uh, picture was full of color. But when you looked at me in that picture, it was void of all color. I was this one black kind of figure that was in the middle of this big pretty picture. And my journey was very much internal. I have mental health issues that I manage. I have my alcoholism, that I needed to address, and I went through treatment as well as maintaining my own recovery, through self-help group, as well. And so yeah, it was a dark personal journey, but out of the darkest of nights come the brightest of lights. And what I
Yeah.
know is that I'm going to take my journey, my story, and I'm going to do what I can to make a difference in the world today, in the community. And that's why I do the work that I do on the west side of Chicago. We're located right off the corner of Masson and Cicero. We're right in the middle of Austin, which is the heart of the most overdoses in the city. And let's be honest, probably throughout the entire state. And, we are boots on the ground every day. And this work, you know, um, fulfills me in a way that I had no idea even existed, that you could get in what you do every day. I thought, you only get passions and then you get work. Well, no, I
Yeah.
have an opportunity to take my lived experience. I take an opportunity to have my life and the journey it was, and the ups and downs and all arounds roller coaster, and turn it into something that can help others. And so that's what I'm
Yeah.
doing today.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for all you do. Thank you for sharing your story. I'd never heard it before, and I'm so grateful to God that you have taken on an amazing leap of leading people to hope, a pathway to healing. And shout out to John and Dora as they are doing the work that they are doing at CRCC, and I'm just really extremely grateful. Well, girl, we have some exciting news on the horizon that we need to talk about, right? So why don't you go on and kick it off, and we'll just go ahead and talk a little bit about what's coming up September 21st.
Well, so today, International Overdose Awareness Day, is the kind of the start of Recovery Month. So we get into September, and next month is Recovery Month, and that is the month where we get to put a face and a voice on recovery, right, and show that recovery is possible. And so, with that said, there are different events that happen throughout the month, throughout the entire United States. And we partner with an organization called Faces and Voices of Recovery. It's a huge advocacy group, and every year, as a part of National Recovery Month, they put on a hub event, a national rally, and it's held in a different state every year. And it's held by and it's hosted by a different recovery community organization each year. And for the very first time ever, it is coming to the state of Illinois.
Drum roll.
Woo!
Yay, yay,
So,
yay, yay, yay.
so on September 21st at 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., at the UIC Credit Union One Arena, we are going to be hosting the National Rally for Recovery. This is a huge honor and to be able to host a national hub event like this here in the state of Illinois. So CRCC and NORCO, Northern Illinois Recovery Community Organization. I'm going to do a shout out to Dr. Mary Roberson, Jeff,
Yes.
and their entire team. We are co-hosting this. Because it takes a village, it takes an entire state to put this on. We
Yes.
have organizations from all over the state, including you, Nisha, who's a part of the group who's helping plan this. And we have people from all over the U.S. who are reaching out saying that they want to come to Chicago. They want to come and celebrate recovery. They want to come and put a face and voice on recovery and show that recovery is possible.
Yes. And so you all don't want to miss out on this. And I want to speak real quick to the fact that we are looking for massive, major sponsors. Okay. We want some
Yes.
sponsorship. We need your support. This is going to be anywhere from 5 to 10,000 people. And we need your support to come on out, but not just to come on out with your visible presence, but bring those financial presences. So you can go and register at Zephy.com. The Zephy ticketing agent is available, growing across the screen. We have vendor opportunities where you can come and set up your table for recovery. We have sponsorship opportunities where you can give anywhere from 50,000 or more, all the way down to just being a friend sponsor. You want to talk a little bit about that, Vanessa?
Yes. So, as you can as you can imagine, putting on an event like this is a big one, and we are looking for sponsors. So, if you are a supporter, a friend, an ally, know somebody, you are in recovery yourself, and want to contribute anything from $1 up to, like you said, $50,000. Everything that you donate is going to be put into putting on this amazing event. And so we have a link that's located in the chat, and you are able to take that and be able to log in and sign up. We also have on the flyer, if you go to chicagorecovery.org, we have a hub event page, and you can also find sponsorship information about the event, the different sponsorship levels, and just about the day. So we're going to have all kinds of activities. So we have people from the federal level who are going to be speaking. We have local, supportive lawmakers, as well as local city uh, advocates as well. We have people from different organizations. We're going to have fun too. So let's say we're going to have music going. We're going to have some entertainment. We're going to have something for everybody. We're even going to have a whole area for the kids. So we want everybody to come
Oh, there's an
out. We
area
want
for the kids. I didn't know that part.
Oh yeah, we're going to have some kid activities that are going to be going on as well, and then we're going to have lots of different organizations who are going to be providing resources, information, doing different trainings, demonstrations on Narcan. We want to make sure that we're passing that out and sharing that information as well, and we're also going to have food trucks. So we're going to have a taste of Chicago also there. So we're going to have, I think, about 6 different food trucks. They're going to have different types of food. So we invite everybody to come out, whether you or somebody in recovery, you have a family member in recovery, you're a
Yeah.
supporter, come on out. It is going to be fun. We're going to have education as well as a little fun, because we like to have fun too.
Yes, yes, yes. And I believe that they gonna light the town purple in honor of Recovery Month because Governor Prisoner declared it National Recovery Month. Okay, am I saying that right?
Yes, so he did put in the proclamation that September is National Recovery Month, and between the 3rd and the 10th, they're going to be lighting up the town purple in honor of it.
In honor of it, let me tell you something. Vanessa's here as a special guest to talk about her journey, but also she is an advocate. She is an educator. She is bringing and providing awareness through the CRCC as the assistant director of programs. She did this beautiful flyer as well. She took her ministry and marketing and turned it into recovery marketing. Okay, and so we want you all to come out to the first ever National Rally for Recovery, hosted in Illinois, the first time. Insurance companies, banks, faith based communities, recovery treatment centers. If you can provide support financially, we need your help. I don't want to say if. You can provide support financially. You can become a sponsor. There are sponsorship levels where you get different opportunities. So we are just super excited. It's going to be a great event. We know that if you've ever lost a loved one or someone to any form of substance use or mental health journeys, you need to be here. The state of Illinois is recognizing this actual need and advocacy for the recovery. So, guess what? What better way than for Faces and Voices of Recovery to show up here? I'm just excited about it, Vanessa. Shout out to Dr. Mary. Shout out to Dora and John, and just shout out to every volunteer. We're looking for volunteers. We looking
Yes,
for
I was just going to
volunteers.
say we need volunteers. Like I said, it takes an entire state to host this, put this on, and we need you. So if you'd like to volunteer, even for an hour, come and enjoy the event. Help us out for an hour. Stay and play. We want that. And also, the other thing that I do want to promote too is we're actually going to be doing uh, uh, a pre rally event as well too the night before. So I'll make sure you get that information as well. But the night before, we're going to be doing kind of a little welcome meet and greet, as well as an all recovery meeting, and then some fun dancing. So we'll make sure that you get that information as well.
Thank you, Vanessa. Well, this has been fun today. Thank you for being transparent and sharing your journey of recovery and your forever journey in recovery. I think we all are in one way or another. And so we're looking forward to seeing everyone on September 21st. Thank you so much for today, Vanessa. I appreciate you.
Thank you. We look forward to seeing everybody there.
And reach out to someone today, as it is Overdose Awareness Day, National Day for Overdose Awareness. And reach out to someone who you know has overcome and celebrate them and is walking through their journey of recovery, and celebrate them and send them a text, send them a message, give them a phone call, take them to lunch, do something to celebrate. It's their birthday. It's their birthday to say that they've chosen a pathway to healing, hope, and recovery. All right, Vanessa, until next time, we'll talk to you all soon. Bye, everybody. Have a great,
Bye,
great
everybody.
day.